This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for this hour of Invent America. Why? Because America invents. And we have talked from everything about, okay, I have an idea, what do I do first, to showing off at a professional trade show. And it seems like there's always one more challenge, one more thing an inventor's got to deal with. And today we're talking about fulfillment. What do you do when somebody starts ordering your product? And my guest for this segment is Kat Crompton. She is the COO of Invent-America, so I work with her every day, and she is also the COO of Inventor Lady. So, Kat, thanks so much for being with us. You know all of this stuff from the challenges that you hear inventors talk about every day, and fulfillment is a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. We go through so much before you even get to the fulfillment process that once we get there, it seems like, oh my gosh, we're done. We're at fulfillment. But unfortunately, it is its own headache. It presents a number of problems, just like every other stage has the potential to present a number of problems. When it comes to packaging and having to do any type of shipping, you're looking at a significant amount of time invested in that. So, what options are out there? What can inventors expect? And what are the different options if they maybe don't have the time to invest in packaging and shipping everything themselves?
Well, I think that the first thing that most inventors have got to understand is that there's a difference between them filling one order at a time because it's coming in on their website or maybe Amazon or TikTok shop. And so there, honestly, people have already paid for the product, so you could put it in a Ziploc bag and shoot it out with some instructions. And, okay, they get what they've wanted, they get what they've ordered. But if you're going into a shop, if you're going into a Target or an Ace, now you've got to have packaging. And a lot of inventors don't realize that each one of those stores can demand different packaging. So, years ago, I had a guy that went out and he got 25,000 cardboard packaging units, and they continued to catch dust for years in the basement. Didn't make his wife real happy because nobody wanted that packaging, and he didn't realize that the stores get to dictate what kind of packaging. Now we've got, a lot of e-commerce. And again, you've got to put it in something preferably that's got the name on it. But, nobody's dictating what the packaging looks like. Well, so now what? Shipping costs. If you use something that's real heavy, all right, it makes your shipping costs go up. And one of the things that we've learned is, when someone's looking at it, you don't want to have them make a second decision about the purchase based on the shipping costs. So you've got to be able to then gauge what is the average shipping cost across the 48 states and make sure that the shipping is included. Well, then you've got sales tax. And you don't want to ship something that's not insured just in case it gets lost or beat up. So it is not unusual that you can have your $10 product go up by a price of 25% because the platform you're using, unless you're using your own website, and nobody knows you're there, but the platform has got a fee. Not unusual that it could be somewhere between 15 and 20%. Now you've got the percentage for the taxes because whatever state the buyer is, the seller is in, is where the sales tax are going to get paid most of the time, and the platform generally takes the responsibility of making that sale, but it's something that gets added. And then the insurance. So you can add, somewhere around 25% to your baseline cost. Well, people, if they see that and they decide to buy it, that's one decision that they've made. If they get to now the checkout stand and they've got to add 25%, it's like, oh, I'll think about it. They never come back. So being aware of kind of those gut reactions, what do you do when you go to buy something, is really critical. Now, the next phase is you've got one store selling it. So it goes through their website. You never have to touch it anymore, and it goes through one site. That's one option. And then the other big option that most people want to get to and grow up to is they're able to hire a fulfillment company. And our expert today is is by one of the fulfillment companies that fulfills orders all over the world for an independent company. So did that fill you up, Kat?
It did. Can you give me a better idea about what would be the difference between working with a fulfillment company versus going through licensing your product?
Oh, very good question. When you go through a licensing company, all right, they're going to make it, sell it, so they're doing the fulfillment, and they're probably using a fulfillment company, just like you would have to do. But they're dealing with the logistics of getting the product out there. Danco, for instance, they own all the shelf space for the plumbing category at Home Depot and Lowe's. So they're the ones in charge of getting the pallets there, and then the products get put on the shelves. When you're dealing with a fulfillment company, everything, the buck stops with you. And so you're dealing with it and paying then the fulfillment company. You're doing the manufacturing. You're getting it shipped to the fulfillment company. The fulfillment company then gets the distribution out as you are taking the orders. And a lot of them will set it up so that the orders go directly to them for your product, which is take something off of your plate to have to deal with. But you still do have to oversee it. You've got to pay attention, make sure those orders get filled. I know one of the inventors, a random person called me because their product was listed on the site, and they said, did you know that these are on a 2-month back order? And so I said, I did not know that, but let me check with the inventor, see if he knew that. He had no idea that the place that was fulfilling the orders was out of inventory, Now it falls to the inventor. They've got to be able to hustle it up and get some inventory in there because the back orders are just sitting there waiting to be filled. And consumers don't like waiting 2 months for a back order to be filled. They want their money back. So it's a very interesting scenario. So licensing is, again, a big option for inventors who have one or two products, especially if those products are in different industries, to let somebody else do the heavy lifting, the making, the marketing, selling, fulfillment, and everything. So, any other questions, Kat?
Yeah. Do you have any advice on if somebody's trying to decide to go one route or the other?
Well, in a perfect world, all right, an inventor's able to tee up a little bit, do a short run, and get some products out there and prove that there is a market for those products. And then we go after licensing to get it teed up. But it's just, one of those stepping stone practices that, we know somebody wants to get to licensing, and this is the best way to do it. Not everybody can do that, so we work with them. But I hear the music playing. Thank you, Kat, so much for being on and helping us with, that introduction. But stick with us, America, because we've got an inventor coming up who did deal with this issue of fulfillment and found a store to help him out. So stay with us. We've got a couple of inventors coming up, and we'll be right back after we go and pay some bills.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for sticking with us as we go and talk to our American inventors across the country and, discuss some of these issues that if you have an idea and or you know someone and they're, stressing out over something and you can say, hey, check in with that Invent America show and Rita Crompton because they can answer a lot of questions for you. Today we're talking about fulfillment and those challenges. My next guest is Mr. Ron Matson. I've known Ron for several years now. Traveled to some trade shows with him, and he invented the Blue Viper trenching shovel. It's a very unique piece of equipment, and I get inventors or buyers, consumers that see it on our website on a pretty regular basis and say, hey, I need to talk to that guy. Want that shovel. Ron, how are you today?
I am well. How are you?
I am just fine. Thanks so much for being on with us. Tell everybody, what is the Blue Viper trenching shovel? Cool name, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a real neat tool to have in the garage, or if you're going to do some digging out in the back, every garage should have one of these if you're a do-it-yourselfer, to bury a wire or a conduit of some sort. It's a real narrow shovel. It's 2.5 inches wide, has sidewalls on it, which makes a real clean cut, kind of saves on the yard. If you're digging a line, electric line from the house to the garage or something like that, or putting in a sprinkler, lawn sprinkler situation. It really does a nice job. It makes it cleaner and faster, and it just digs a real nice, narrow trench.
And it does do that. I've watched it work. So where are you selling? I mean, you're not selling them yourself. You are in charge of your own manufacturing, correct?
Yes, so far. I'm looking for a cheaper manufacturing, to keep the cost down more, because then Ace Hardware wants the shovel if I can get the cost down. So looking for a manufacturer. But the quality is top shelf right now, I got to say, and it's made in Minnesota.
Where are you selling it? How are you getting it out there?
Through Lehman's.com. You could look that up, or Google. If you Googled Blue Viper trenching shovel, it would come up on the Lehman site, and you'd be looking at a couple of videos showing people how it works, any information for cost, and so on. But, it's out there on Google, and also at the Lehman's website, Lehman's.com. That's Lehmans. Yeah.
It is, because that's where I went and looked for it, just to see how fast it was coming up. And it was right there when you put in Blue Viper trenching shovel. It comes up right at Lehman's as the first one. And so rather than filling the orders yourself out of your garage, Lehman's has been doing a pretty good job for you as far as, you could go into the store if you live in Minnesota. But otherwise, you can buy it online and they will ship.
Yes. Yeah, I sold 9 of them already this morning.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great. So are you plugged in where you can actually see what they're selling of your product?
Again, if you Google it, all the information is on the Google site as well as Lehmans.com.
Excellent.
And, the Lehman store is a hardware store in Kidron, Ohio, and they've been real good about promoting it as well. But Rita, you too, thank you so much for helping me get started.
It's been my pleasure. You're wonderful to work with. So how do you want to see your sales grow? You talked about, your next step really then is finding a manufacturer that can make it at a lower price for you.
Yeah, once I get the price down, Ace Hardware, and they have thousands of stores. I think they have like 8,000 or 9,000. That would certainly pick up the sales. But, yeah, I got to get the price down, and then hopefully Ace Hardware would take it.
All right. Well, I've got 3 different manufacturers that two of the 3 are sponsors for our Invent America. We have got Kicker Design, and we have got Product Quick Start. Both of them, I will send you their information, and you can at least ask.
We will need to do that.
And, these are really good guys. But I will get that information out to you so that, you can check in with them and see if you can get that price. That'd be a great place to be an Ace.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is not unusual that where Ace goes, True Value follows.
Yes, it'd be a good another stepping stone. Yep.
And once you get that one lined up, it is not unusual that a licensing agreement can come into play.
Yes, and the product, like I say, is patented and in the United States, and a worldwide one is pending.
Good for you.
So,
good for you.
But yeah, you can, this shovel can be adjusted for the depth, 4, 8, 12, or 16 inches deep. Again, it cuts real clean, cuts through roots without slipping off. It's a nice tool to have.
It is, and being able to, show it out there and get it out there. So I will get you on some video in the next week, and then we will match that up to our streaming that we do so that people will be able to see it. And so then we'll link it also to the couple of videos that you've got out there. And that way then people can go and see it, and we can start, getting you out there a little bit more. It might, perk your sales here right away, and then be able to get some visuals. I will get those names out to you. For anybody out there who is working on a product and you run into an issue where you need, to talk to different service providers, by all means, give me a call, because we have got service providers available for everything from doing your first search, filing patents, prototyping, all the way into, we're talking today about fulfillment. And so our industry expert will be coming up at the end of the hour, and that is exactly what they do, is fulfillment. So as we take a break to go and pay some bills, stick with us. Mr. Dave Fegel is coming up with the Seals It Clean Can Solutions. Ron, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for helping me, Rita.
My pleasure, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, everybody out there who is either an inventor or an American buyer of invented products. We are so grateful to have all of you out there, because you know what? We're going to send you off to a local store or to a website and say, here, America, you need one of these. And, we're grateful for all the support that you give us. And every time you call me and say, gee, I've got a question. And I go, how did you hear about us? And it's like, well, I'm listening to the radio right now. So yay, America, for listening to our show and being out there and calling us and asking questions. My next guest is Dave Fegel. He is the inventor of Seals It. It's an award-winning product, and it is for every single one of you out there who have ever opened a can of paint. Right, Dave?
That's correct.
So
tell our... a lot of headaches and a lot of mess.
Oh, Lordy. When I moved into this house a couple of years ago, she had a whole bunch of cans of paint that she used around the house. And she had them all labeled. It was great. I knew exactly where that hallway paint was. And not a single one of them had a Seals It on it. And it's like, you know what? Every time I open one of those cans, if they don't have a Seals It on it, I'm thinking of you, Mr. Fegel. So tell our listeners exactly what Seals It is.
Well, this is a solution to a problem that everybody has when they open a can of paint and use some of it. The design of the paint cans creates a built-in mess when you put the lid back on, and it really gets to be a mess when you try to open it again and you destroy the paint, the lid, and so on. It's a frustration, and it's an expensive one. So we've got a two-part solution. One part that when you remove the lid from the paint can initially, you just push this ring down in where the paint lid sat, where it's sealed. And it's just a donut-shaped ring that fills that void so no paint can get in there. And then there's a second part that after you access the paint and use it either with a brush or pouring it into a pan, you just wipe the excess off the edge and set the lid on top of it. And the design of it creates a little vacuum inside the can and keeps the paint fresh. You go to use it all day long. You don't have to reseal it and fight the mess. And it has been tested for over 1.5 years of keeping the paint skim-free and easy to access without any deterioration of the paint.
You know, every time, like I said, every time I open one of those cans now, I think, okay, the biggest problem that you solve is, the mess. And then I think, oh, no, the biggest problem that you solve is keeping it nice and fresh. And then I go back, depending on where I am in the process, thinking, oh, no, it's this one. Oh, no, it's this one. Because you're right. You solve two major problems that every homeowner has to deal with when they open a can of paint. And, we all have, we might buy 3 or 4 gallons to do a room. And you do the room, but you've got one can that's left over that you want to use for touch-ups. You better be able to seal it, right?
That's correct. And besides the money-saving aspect of heating the paint where it's usable whenever you go back to get it, if you look at the ulterior motive of keeping the paint out of the landfills, it helps all of the disposal thing because you don't get the contamination from the paint. There's over 10 to 15% of the paint that's purchased ends up in the landfills. So you've got a contamination going on all around the country. And this really helps eliminate that because you get to use all of it.
Yeah. Well, you're manufactured in Muskegon, Michigan, and you had told me that at one point you did have a company that was shipping your orders, and now you have the wonderful opportunity to ship every single order yourself. How are you managing that, Dave?
Well, that is the issue that we're addressing. We were kind of put into this position because we operated with a small, independently owned hardware distributor company. He handled all the hardware stores, independent hardware stores around the state of Michigan. And with the economy situation the way it was with COVID and so on, it put tremendous pressure on his business, and he ended up going out of business. So we lost our storage and our distribution all in one fell swoop. So we're in the process of replacing that because of the amount of time and effort that it takes and the expense of doing the shipping as it comes in 1, 2, or 3 at a time. It gets to be a problem. So that's exactly what we're moving forward with. We've got an online store through Amazon right now, and it still doesn't solve the problem of the shipping, which we are going to replace because it's expensive and it's time-consuming unless you have some way of handling it.
It is. And, as you're going through all the steps, and, you get the patent done, and you get then the prototypes done, and you start the manufacturing, and then it's like when you think you're just about ready to take a deep breath and say, oh, yay, then you get fulfillment.
That's correct.
And you're thinking, oh, my God, shoot me now, because it is never ending with the challenges that come for an inventor.
That's very true. Fulfillment is the issue, and it's all over the map as far as what your cost is, depending on what's going on and so on. So it's just a continuing challenge, and just a little bit of difference. It's much easier to ship 3 of our sets. We have a relatively small, as far as weight goes, item, and you get to a point where you ship everything according to what the weight is for the best value, rather than if you want 1, 2, or 3. So your pricing sometimes is dictated by just the ability to fulfill the orders.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got one person that said, depending on how many are in there, it can raise the price, the shipping, the taxes, up to 25% of your retail price. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, with that, I've got 2 fulfillment houses that I'm going to send to you so you can call and talk to them, and maybe they'll be able to take care of this issue for you. We are saying thank you so much for Home Talk USA for being the father of Invent America and the father of Home Talk USA. Thank you so much, Michael King and team, for getting us out there. And we will be right back with our industry expert, Matt Ortega from AWESUNG Fulfillment. Stick with us, America. We'll be right back.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, America, and all of you inventors out there. It is one thing that we present a problem and talk about something that our inventors have to deal with. It is then the next step up when we can actually present an industry expert who helps to solve that problem. Our next guest is Matt Ortega. He is the VP of AWESUNG. Am I saying that right, Matt?
Yes, you are.
AWESUNG Sales and Fulfillment and Logistics Services. And, every inventor, they, get through all these steps and they think, oh, my God, I'm finally getting some orders. Isn't it wonderful? And then they've got to fill those orders. So tell our listeners what it is that you guys do and why you help those independent inventors so much.
Of course. Well, Rita, thank you for introducing me, and I was glad to meet you at the AWESUNG convention. Learned a lot about, what you guys do as an organization, and was very, very intrigued, and, what you do for small entrepreneurs. It's a great, it's a great solution, to help them out. A little bit about us, AWESUNG. We started in 2008, started off as an e-sellers for China, clients for handle returns, then eventually moved on to, e-commerce and fulfillment, having multiple warehouses, throughout the East Coast and West Coast. A little bit about what we can do. Or a lot of things, for customers like yourself. What we can do is, hold on, one sec, can I pull this up? Okay, so what we can do a lot of 3PL fulfillment companies can provide comprehensive support of e-commerce business in several ways. You know, if you have orders in place or if you have multiple orders that you can't fulfill, we can offer warehouse and storage, inventory management, order fulfillment, shipping and logistics, automation technology integration, which is API and EDI. So if you have like a Shopify account or something that you sell your products on, we can definitely help out with that. Scalability, you know, if you have multiple orders, you know, scaling through the roof, and it's hard for you to run your operations. That's a great plus in 3PL fulfillment because you can focus on sales and we do the operations. You know, you can do both. And, of course, customer service. I know customers always send emails and do phone calls, but we have a backup office, you know, in multiple countries in the United States, China, and India, where these customers can contact them, you know, about their packages, where they're located, where they're at, and when they get delivered.
And that makes such a difference for the inventors because, you know, both of the inventors I had on, one is selling out of one store and the store fulfills their online sign. But he goes, I need to be bigger. I need to be able to do more of this. And the other gentleman, he had lost his fulfillment house during COVID and, you know, when the economy was in such bad shape, and now he's doing it in his garage. All right, I will deny if David ever says, you know, oh no, she shouldn't have said this. He's 80 years old and he's still filling all of them himself.
Yeah, you know, and you have a great, you know, what you said, you know, because, you know, the automation technology nowadays, it's through the, you know, it's through the skies, you know, and for an 80-year-old man or someone who's not technology, you know, supportive, it's going to be hard for them to fulfill orders, especially in their garage. So when you come through a 3PL fulfillment, you know, you're going to take all that weight off your shoulders, and we basically do everything for you, you know, from inventory to shipping orders. You know, we get great prices with FedEx, UPS, or any shipping carrier you want to use, and you know, you're just focused on sales and getting more customers, you know, to buy your products.
Well, I promised both of these gentlemen that I would send them your contact information as soon as we got done. I would like to, you know, set up a time where we can get you on video and people can see you, but we will post your website so people can get out there and find you. And, you know, for the, you know, almost 1 million listeners that we've got at any given moment, a lot of them are in business and running small businesses. So we will make sure that your information gets posted out there. And I hope that we get to see you again at the ASD Market Week when we go next year.
Yes, I will. I'll be the one in August. I'm not sure we're going to one in August, but I'll definitely be the one next year. We'll actually have a booth next year, so hopefully you guys can come see us. Like I said, you know, we're here to help you guys out, especially save costs. That's one of our jobs as a business. You know, we do cost efficient, you know, to try to help you guys out the best that we can.
Well, we have inventors all the time that are asking for help with different problems, and they want vetted service providers. They want to know it's someone that we've talked to, someone that we know that they've worked, you know, another inventor has worked with them, because it is so easy for an inventor to get taken advantage of. And one of the things that we really focus on here at Invent America is having good, reliable service providers to help out our independent inventors. So, Matt, thanks so much for being on. I hear that music revving up, and that means we're going to go and pay a few bills. And, Matt, we're going to get you on again just as soon as we can.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Rita.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stick with us, everybody. We have got another segment of Invent America coming right up.
To Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Welcome, America, to Invent America, where we help American inventors get from I have an idea to the marketplace. So almost everybody at one time or another has said, oh, I think I'll invent this, or maybe I'll file a patent, or, gee, this works really well. If you've got questions, give us a call. If you've got a product you're working on and you want to be on the radio, it's free. Just go to the website, invent-america, and fill out the form that says want to be on the radio. It's real easy to join us. And since I get to pick the topics, I'm going to give you a call and find out where you are in the process. If you need a service provider, call me. We have got a ton of really good vetted service providers. It's a tough world out there, and America needs all of its inventors protected and served well. So thanks so much for being with us. We'll join you again next week, where we will have a new topic, new inventors, and new industry experts to help solve that great challenge of inventing in America. Thanks, everybody.
Home Talk USA with Michael King is produced by Home Talk Media in association with King's Broadcasting Network and Genesis Communications Network. Broadcast and streamed live from the great state of Louisiana. Host and producer, the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Executive producer, Michael Mellinson. Affiliate and sponsor relations, Joe Spera. Comptroller, Sheila Gregoire. Assistant producer, Christian Bethencourt. Board operators provided by Genesis Communications Network. And I'm your announcer, Kevin McCarthy. Music includes King's Creole by Prolific Arts, Cajun Jam by StockMusic.com, and Zydeco City by Steve Rice. Home Talk USA with Michael King is sponsored by Bonide, pest solutions for your home, garden, and lawn. Decorators, take outdoor living beyond ordinary. Aztec Washer, innovative roofing solutions. Seal it right, seal it tight. Trimislab, replace rotten or missing wood with Trimislab expansion joint repair. Masonry Cosmetics, change the color of any porous masonry with proven masonry staining. Green Products Company, #1 in wood preservatives. Preserve, protect, and clean what you value, and most of all, make it last. Bond Products, manufacturers of InstaBind, the world's first do-it-yourself carpet binding solution. Deckrite, life is tough. Make your exterior flooring tougher. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Home Talk USA with Michael King. Until next time, visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com.
Yay!